In the heart of a remote landscape lies a medium-security prison, its imposing walls a stark reminder of confinement, yet juxtaposed against the verdant expanse beyond. The air is thick, with the mingling sounds of clanging cell doors and distant laughter, resonating against a backdrop of whispering leaves, a haunting symbol of freedom just out of reach. This audio documentary immerses listeners in the raw realities of prison life, inviting them to explore the lives of those who inhabit these walls. Through the intimate narratives of Anna, Mike, Lena, and Eli, their stories unfold like intricate tapestries, revealing the complexities of humanity amid hardship. Each echo of a footstep or rustle of fabric serves as a reminder that, despite their circumstances, these individuals are more than their crimes. They are voices yearning for redemption. As we dive deeper into their journeys, we discover the rich tapestry of relationships, struggles, and hope that flourish even in the darkest corners. Ana Bookworm Ramirez recalls the day her life changed irrevocably, the moment she let her love for literature lead her astray. Once a devoted librarian, she immersed herself in the world of books, seeking solace in their pages to escape a life that had spiraled into financial deceit. Embezzlement charges landed her in this medium-security facility, a reality starkly different from the quiet aisles of the library she once cherished. Yet, in this prison of walls and iron bars, Anna found an unexpected refuge. She began to host reading groups, transforming her passion into a lifeline for herself and her fellow inmates. Each gathering became a sanctuary where stories could be shared and connections formed, illuminating the humanity within the confines. Through literature, Anna not only navigated her own remorse, but also kindled hope among others, showing them that while they were behind bars, their dreams could still be very much alive. Mike Big Heart Thompson's journey begins on a fateful night that would change his life forever. Wrongly accused of a robbery he didn't commit, he found himself thrust into the harsh reality of prison life, a world that often overlooks the innocent. As he recounts the anguish of his conviction, his gentle demeanor becomes a beacon of light in the dark corridors of confinement. Despite the weight of injustice on his shoulders, Mike's spirit remains unbroken. He shares his belief in the power of kindness, forging unexpected friendships with fellow inmates. Through moments of shared laughter and support, he discovers that community is his lifeline. Mike's resilience inspires those around him, highlighting the transformative power of compassion in a place that can seem devoid of hope. As he navigates his days behind bars, Mike embodies the essence of humanity that thrives even in the bleakest conditions, reminding listeners of the strength found in connection and the will to keep fighting for justice. Lena Shadow Morales was born into a world where loyalty to her gang overshadowed all else. As she recounts her turbulent past, the echoes of gunshots and whispered threats linger in her mind, becoming a soundtrack to her lost childhood. The choices she made, initiating fights, standing guard, and earning respect through fear, led her to a prison cell, where she now confronts the stark reality of her life. With time as her judge, Lena begins to peel back the layers that defined her. Through quiet reflection, she grapples with the weight of her decisions and starts to question the path that led her to embrace violence as strength. In a prison filled with diverse voices, Lena finds unexpected allies in her journey of introspection. Each encounter urges her to seek redemption, igniting a flicker of hope that perhaps within these walls she can rewrite her narrative and reclaim her identity. Eli, the artist Grant, discovered his passion for painting in the unlikeliest of places, behind bars. Once a high school art teacher, Eli found himself imprisoned for drug-related charges that spiraled out of control. The starkness of prison life initially dulled his spirit, but he soon picked up a brush, revealing an inner world that transcended the confines of his cell. Each stroke on canvas served as a cathartic release, translating his pain, regrets, and dreams into vibrant colors and forms. As his art began to flourish, Eli formed deep connections with fellow inmates, using his talent to bridge gaps created by crime and hurt. Together, they organized art sessions that became a sanctuary, enabling them to express their emotions without judgment. Through Eli's journey, listeners witness how creativity has the power to transform despair into hope, shedding light on the personal and communal potential for healing within these harsh walls. Within the confines of the prison walls, bonds of friendship often blossom in the most unlikely of places. In a setting where trust is scarce and vulnerability feels like a risk, Anna, Mike, Lena, and Eli find solace in one another, united by shared experiences of loss, regret, and the desire for redemption. Anna's reading group becomes a sanctuary, fostering connections as inmates gather to explore stories of resilience and hope. Mike's gentle spirit draws others to him, proving that kindness can flourish even in darkness. Lena, initially wary, opens up as her peers share their struggles, discovering strength in their vulnerability. Meanwhile, Eli's artwork captures the essence of camaraderie, transforming personal pain into collective understanding. As laughter echoes through the halls, these unlikely friendships remind each inmate that they are not alone in their journey, creating a sense of family that defies the circumstances of their confinement. Through support and compassion, they find light amid their struggles. As the days blend into weeks behind the prison walls, Anna, Mike, Lena, and Eli find themselves grappling with the weight of their pasts. Each inmate shares their personal regrets, seated in a dim corner of the yard, the warm sunlight contrasting with their somber reflections. Anna recalls a moment of betrayal, realizing that her decisions cost her not just her freedom, but strained relationships with loved ones. Mike, with tears in his eyes, describes the families he has missed, his wrongful conviction haunting him like a ghost, lingering in the shadows of his mind. Lena peers out into the forest, contemplating the cycle of violence she once embraced. Even Eli, with paintbrush in hand, acknowledges the loss of potential, wishing he had inspired rather than withdrawn. These moments of vulnerability draw them closer, illuminating a shared truth. Forgiveness begins with facing the hurt, offering a glimmer of hope for the healing that lies ahead. In the midst of confinement, the quest for knowledge becomes a beacon of hope for the inmates. Educational programs emerge as transformative tools, unlocking paths previously thought unreachable. Anna, recalling a workshop on creative writing, shares how putting pen to paper allowed her to confront her emotions. Mike speaks passionately about the vocational training that instilled a sense of purpose, enabling him to envision a future beyond the prison walls. Lena, initially resistant, finds solace in classes that challenge her perceptions, urging her to reassess her life choices. Eli asserts that creativity is rooted in learning. Through art classes, he breathes life into his pain, discovering the freedom that knowledge brings. As these voices intertwine, the documentary illustrates how education ignites self-discovery and empowerment, reinforcing the belief that even within the confines of prison, the mind can soar to new heights, paving the way for redemption and a brighter future. As the inmates continue their journeys toward redemption, a pivotal step involves confronting the past, an emotionally charged process that requires immense courage and vulnerability. Anna reflects on the moment that led her to embezzlement, her anger over feeling undervalued and overlooked. Mike recalls the night of his wrongful conviction, the shock of the police sirens still echoing in his mind. For Lena, the crossroads come sharp and painful as she faces the choices that linked her to a gang, each decision weighing heavily on her conscience. In hushed conversations, they share their stories, like a delicate tapestry woven with threads of regret and responsibility. The weight of acceptance hangs in the air, creating a deep sense of camaraderie within these prison walls. As they explore their failures and the ripples they caused, the inmates begin to understand that true healing comes from acknowledging their past, an essential step toward finding peace and reclaiming their identities. As the journey toward healing continues, the narratives of personal growth echo throughout the lives of Anna, Mike, Lena, and Eli. Each has made strides in understanding themselves and the lives they wish to lead. Anna shares how her reading group has evolved into a platform for discussion, allowing inmates to reflect on their choices and inspire change within one another. Mike recounts how acts of kindness, no matter how small, have helped him rebuild his sense of self and belonging, reinforcing the idea that transformation often stems from connections with others. Meanwhile, Lena, through her introspective journey, begins to envision a future unshackled from her past, filled with compassion rather than violence. Eli expresses how his art has not only given voice to his emotions, but also birthed aspirations of using his talent to advocate for those silenced by society. Together, these tales unveil a path toward redemption, illuminating how breaking the cycle requires not just personal effort, but collective support. As the sun sets behind the prison walls, casting long shadows on worn concrete, tales of longing and remorse echo through the halls. Anna reflects on the letters she writes to her daughter, filled with apologies and dreams of reconnecting. For Mike, each word exchanged with his sister is a glimpse of redemption, a thread that ties him to a future he desperately wishes to embrace. Lena pens an emotional letter to her mother, seeking forgiveness for the years lost to a violent past, while Eli's sketches become a visual apology, a way to express the pain he caused and the hope he clings to. Each inmate grapples with their past, yearning for reconciliation, understanding that forgiveness is not just a gift they seek from others, but a vital step in their journey towards self-acceptance. In this pursuit, they find strength in vulnerability, illuminating the transformative power of forgiveness that holds the promise of healing and renewal. As the sunlight streams through the prison windows, casting shadows on the concrete walls, the inmates gather in a quiet moment of reflection. Their voices rise in hopeful whispers as they share dreams of life beyond the bars. Anna envisions opening a community library, a safe haven where others can find solace in books just as she did. Mike dreams of advocating for wrongful convictions, using his experience to educate others about justice reform. Lena, once entangled in a life of violence, hopes to mentor at-risk youth, guiding them away from the path she once chose. Eli imagines a future gallery showcasing his art, a space where stories are painted, not just told. Yet they all acknowledge the challenges that await: stigma, a lack of support, and the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. But amid uncertainty, the thread of resilience weaves through their aspirations, making the prospect of freedom feel tangible, just beyond reach. Society's perception of inmates often casts a long shadow, branding them with the stigma of their pasts, which can linger far beyond the prison walls. For many, the challenge of reintegration becomes a battle against not only their personal demons, but also the judgment of those around them. As Anna reflects on her time in prison, she recalls overhearing visitors whispering harsh judgments as they passed by. Mike shares his struggles to find work post-release, facing employers who see his record as a mark of shame rather than a story of growth. Lena fights against the stereotypes that label her simply as a gang member, yearning to redefine her identity. Eli listens deeply, painting not just to express himself, but also to show the world that he is more than his crime. These narratives reveal an urgent need for societal change in attitudes towards redemption, emphasizing that true transformation stems from empathy, understanding, and the recognition of shared humanity.